news,
Lobbyists are fed up with politicians accepting their money and then not coming through.
opinion,
When the automated police force orders you inside, that's just them doing their job.
remix.
Even lost my job partially due to the whole global warming issue. Increase in oil prices. This guy's scared.
This is Top Story with Kelly Klass and Jill Skeen,
I've been a listener for about 20 years.
I'm talking to you makes me feel better.
where the news meets your opinion. Pick up the phone and talk about it. 736-0300. That's 736-0300. Now, here's the hosts of Top Story, Kelly Klass and Jill Skeen.
And good morning and welcome to Top Story. 736-0300 is always the number to call. Welcome, Jill.
Thanks, Kelly. Hey, Wednesday.
Oh.
I know. It's hard to believe it's Wednesday already, but Cal.
Uh-oh. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on. I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-woo!
All right. There you go. There you go.
That sorry makes me laugh every time. But how do we know
I
it's
surrender.
Wednesday if we don't hear it?
Yeah, I know. You're right. You're right,
It's
Jill.
midweek. We're on the downhill now. Come
Well,
on. It's
not
almost
until
Friday.
Noon. Not until noon.
All right, Kelly. Not until
Man,
noon.
there is so much stuff going on right now. I don't even know where to start. I will tell you this, that Ashley Houle will be in with Magic Valley Speedway here in a few moments.
Yep.
At 9 o'clock, we have Twin Falls City Councilperson Rebecca Mills Sojka with State of the City.
You better have her theme song ready. Did you have it last time?
I don't remember. Are you kidding? I don't remember what I had for lunch yesterday.
Can't remember to put on the Wednesday song.
I know.
What's going on
What
here?
do you expect from me?
Oh, it's hard to work like this.
We have now. You heard at the top of the hour that the plane carrying the 40 bodies from that crash of the Ukraine jetliner had crashed on landing, killing 51 people.
Yeah.
Now we're getting word that the Associated Press kind of messed up.
Oops.
All it did was land. Now
Yeah.
there was a plane crash in Taiwan.
Right.
Now, were there fatalities?
Yeah, there was like 51 in Taiwan.
Okay.
I think they got the flights confused.
Sounds like they're getting their flights confused, but now they're kind of coming back and saying, "Okay, wait a minute, stop the truck, back the truck up here a bit." So
People are too confused with all the plane crashes.
I know it just seems like everywhere, and especially with the I don't know, I guess I don't even know what to call it, but with the crash of the plane, and then they're finally getting the bodies out of there.
Oh.
Then if it were to have crashed, boy, what a curse that would mean. But apparently it was not that plane that was carrying.
51 were dead in the Taiwan plane crash.
Yeah.
They got it confused. That's a major oops because you're the AP and it goes out everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Everybody relies on the oops press.
But it's good that they re-oopsed it.
Yeah, well, they
you gotta
really
pull
had
it
no
back.
choice.
No.
So anyway, we'll see what happens there. We'll keep you up to date on what happens there. Next, it's on his website today. And I'm going to read this verbatim.
Breaking news.
From a guy by the name of Beckley, who was talking about jumping the Snake River Canyon sometime this year.
Paid $1 million for the lease.
Yep. Not good news, but it must be shared with my friends. We received the final word. The new bosses at Fox TV have backed away from the Snake River Canyon jump. It was not in their new budget for us to make the jump. We will not sacrifice safety, our integrity, or our just reward for attempting a real motorcycle jump over the canyon. We are now seeking other media partners, and we are undaunted by this development because it is in God's hands. We have followed his lead from the start, and whatever he has in store for us, whatever it may be, we are along for the ride. A special thanks go to our closest to those who are closest to this whole deal. My friend, my cheerleader, the one that never gave up through all of this is Cheryl Williamson. Her support has been a lifesaver throughout this whole ordeal. Of course, there is my friend and attorney John Simmons, as well as Rod Woodruff and his crew from the Buffalo Chip. So anyway, it goes on and thanks those people. But thanks to all for your support and believing in me. I hope you understand there will be no replies to your questions, no radio or TV interviews about this subject until we know more. We will move forward. I am not through with this jump or others we have been working on. There is much more to do with this restart of my career. Remember, I have always been the one that when people said he couldn't, I showed them I could, and I have the Lord on my side. Everything is possible with him. So there you go from Ed Beckley.
So you don't know. I mean, Fox obviously decided not to, but it doesn't mean another media partner will step up. But at this late date, I'd have a hard time believing it's already the end of July. If he's going to jump in September, yada, yada, how do you sell it? How do you build it?
Right, yeah.
So anyway, and he has a 2-year lease, but this is the 40th anniversary, and we will have Scott Truax and Eddie Braun on the show tomorrow.
That's right, because they are moving forward.
They are moving forward with their jump, and I believe it's going to be September 7th, but we'll find out more tomorrow.
Yeah, should be fun.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to having them in here.
I have to say I was surprised.
Oh, really?
Well, in a way, but then I was a little concerned about the motorcycle/rocket thing. I think maybe the legal department at Fox TV looked at it, and being in a former legal department of a big company, Reebok, you look at those things and you're like, are you kidding me? What are the risks? You know, and I think probably maybe they squashed it. I know he said budget things, but I just have a hard time wondering. I don't know if you'd really want to televise something. That thing looked a little risky. You know, Evel Knievel's thing has been tested once. I mean, it did.
Right.
So I think that one with the wheels that were going to move down, I don't know. I was a little concerned about his mode of flying. Weren't you? Of the two jumps, that one seemed a little more crazy. But we'll see.
Yeah.
At least we have one more jump.
Happens.
I'm excited for the other jump.
Yeah, I am
40th
too.
anniversary.
Well, and you know, I mean, Scott Truax is the son of Bob Truax, who designed the original Evel Knievel thing. Eddie Braun is a stunt guy who's done this stuff for many, many years.
Yeah.
So I have no doubt that this thing is going to go through. Hopefully, in the first week of September. Eddie Braun, the name Eddie Braun, will live in infamy, and nobody remembers the second person to fly the Atlantic. Okay. The first guy, Charles Lindbergh? Who was the second guy? Let me think. I don't know. So anyway, Eddie Braun.
Amelia Earhart? Who was the second? I don't know.
Well, Amelia Earhart attempted to fly it around the world.
Yes, but do you remember the second?
No,
I don't know.
I don't know who
I have
attempted
no idea.
the second one.
The second person who tried to replace Kelly Klass? I don't know. Who was that? We've only known Kelly Klass for 40 years. Who's the second? I don't know.
I don't know.
So, you know, that's just history. Evel Knievel? I don't know. So anyway, we'll have them on tomorrow to give us an update of what's happening, and this is an interesting development. And then there was one.
Yes, I know.
Then there was one.
So far. I mean, that's, well, when you stop and think about it, I suppose a lot of people could step up in the early hours of the thing and say, oh, yeah, I'd like to jump the Snake River Canyon. But when it comes right down to it, of actually putting stuff together to make it happen, I mean, that separates the men from the boys.
Well, and you do want a media partner with you, which separates the men from the boys, because you want people to see this thing. So, and you need the money, and so whatever. We're now down to one, and we'll have them on the show tomorrow.
Yep.
Which will be interesting.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
And we'll see how it's progressing.
We do have some other things going on, and I just have to say, I just have a little bit of time to get this in here because we have Ashley Houle coming in from the Magic Valley Speedway. We'll be talking to her here shortly. Something else we want to talk about this morning, this experiment of going 21 days without complaining.
Can we do it?
Can we do it? I suppose we ought to try. But anyway, we're going to be talking about that. But
the show, we'd have to have the 2 hours out of the show.
Yeah, that's right. That couldn't count because without complaining, we wouldn't have a show.
Right. And people say to me, is your marriage like this? If my marriage was like this, I'd be divorced. Thank goodness my marriage is not like this.
Okay, well, I was going to talk about this judge talking about the death penalty, but then I happened to think about the big ruling yesterday for the Obamacare issue. Two, count them, 1, 2 appeals courts yesterday reached different conclusions
Yeah.
about whether millions of consumers in 36 states can use tax credits to help buy health coverage on the federal health insurance marketplace. The conflicting rulings, combined with two other pending challenges still awaiting decisions, potentially tee up for the Supreme Court its next landmark health care case and leave one of the Affordable Health Care Act's signature provisions in a state of limbo. All right, so basically what happened is one appeals court ruled that the subsidies that people are getting to help pay for their insurance through Obamacare,
through the federal exchanges.
To do it through the federal exchange, that is illegal. Now, if you do it apparently through the state exchange, because some 14 states, I think, have state exchange, apparently that's okay. I don't understand the difference,
They said there was
but that's what they're
something
saying.
wrong with a comma in the original draft, but the thing of it is a lot of states said, no, I'm not doing it, and so they were, and I don't think the federal government really planned on that. They thought every state would have their own exchange, but they didn't, and so, I think it's so annoying. Ted Cruz is cheering this, and you think, wow, more than almost 6 million people now, their premiums will go up. What are you cheering about? This is affecting low and middle income people to get insurance. Why would you cheer that? I don't understand the objection to this. People now have insurance they never had before, and to cheer that now their premiums are going up.
Well, I know that.
Does that make sense to you?
I know
honestly?
that a lot of people don't want this Obamacare thing, but you know what? They've ruled in the courts. It's the law of the land. That's what we've been told. Okay, so people start abiding by it. Well, if it's the law of the land, I guess we better do it. So now millions of people have signed up for it, and now there's a possibility that their subsidy could be pulled away. And some people made life decisions based on this. Now, whether it's right or wrong, the discussion here is not in favor or against Obamacare.
It's that
the government has just screwed this thing up, and the lawsuits and everything, and people who are retired now, maybe they retired thinking, okay, well, I got the subsidy, so
I can afford health
fine.
insurance.
And now all of a sudden they may not have. Now the subsidies will continue until this is all meted out in court, and of course this could take years.
Right.
This could take 2 or 3 years before it's finally figured out. Now, as far as Idaho is concerned, Idaho has its own state-run health exchange, Your Health Idaho, but the exchange relies, for now at least, on the federal system, healthcare.gov.
So how does that play? Because it's really not the state exchange. It's really relying on the federal. So is that part of it or not? It's confusing.
There was an article this morning that I was reading that some of the experts are saying, well, they think that Idaho's okay, but they don't know for sure. So, frankly, Idaho is in a state of limbo like everybody else.
So that sounds about right.
Anyway, as a state-based marketplace, Your Health Idaho has requested official guidance to confirm that this ruling does not impact Idahoans. According to Amy Dowd, the exchange's executive director, several Your Health Idaho board members told the Idaho Statesman that they believe they fall in the state-based category. And Governor Butch Otter appeared to conclude Idaho is firmly in the camp of state-based exchanges in his own statement on Tuesday. So, I don't know. They're saying Idaho is okay, but
yeah,
nobody can guarantee that.
To cheer
right
their
now.
low and middle income people rates go up, that is just contrary to anything I would believe in. I don't understand
we're going to have
that.
to start playing that soap opera music. Besides for the Idaho GOP, we're going to have to start playing it for Obamacare, too.
Well, GOP is doing
getting
this.
worse and worse. This is Top Story. We have Ashley Houle up next. 7360300, always the number to call here on Top Story. And welcome back. We have Ashley Houle with us from Magic Valley Speedway. We also have Jeff Hallock with us, who is one of the drivers, I guess, who will be coming to Twin Falls this Saturday, right?
Yeah, we're actually having a practice on Friday, so I'm sure he'll be down for that. And O'Reilly Auto Parts is going to be putting on a barbecue for the drivers that come down as just a thank you because they are the sponsor for this weekend.
Oh, very good.
Nice.
Well, good morning, Jeff.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, we appreciate you being with us here this morning.
Not a problem.
So you're what do you drive, and what will you be driving this Saturday?
Well, I have a 2006 Pontiac Grand Prix bodied super late model car that's been running for a few years.
Haven't you been successful with that, obviously?
Oh, yeah. I've won 6 championships with this car. So.
Oh, wow.
You're also the points leader right now in this racing division at Magic Valley Speedway. Is that right?
Yes. Yes, I'm currently the points leader with the Rocky Mountain Challenge Series.
Okay, great. So how many points do you have? How do they judge
you know,
points?
You caught me off guard right there.
Well, you know what? That's my job, Jeff. I swear. If I don't ask the stupid question, it's not an interview. We'll move on. Sorry.
She also wanted to ask you who Kathy was, because this is up here. It says Kathy Hallock.
Kathy is my wife.
Okay, and
she's the car owner.
Oh, I see.
Well, that's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah,
you better be very nice to your car owner.
Yeah, if you're not nice, she says, you better be nice or I'm taking your car away, huh?
That's it. She's my car owner and main sponsor.
Oh,
very cool.
Well, that's so nice.
Does she also drive?
No.
Okay, she leaves that up to you.
I can't even get her to help me adjust the brakes. So.
Wow.
So when you're driving around in the regular car, does she tell you how to drive?
We won't go there.
Okay.
If I was your wife, I would drive. Yeah. I wouldn't want the speed tickets. So
don't have many of those.
So Ashley, tell us about the race coming up Saturday.
Well, we have the O'Reilly Auto Parts Rocky Mountain Challenge Series 125, Brennan's Carpet Super Stocks, Magic Valley Pipe Street Stocks, O'Reilly Auto Part Thunder Dogs, and the Sherry Cafe Hornets.
So when you say 125, that's 125 laps. So that's longer than normal, right?
Yes. The first race they were supposed to have of the season back in May that got rained out, kind of, basically. They went 75 laps, and then we just had our big 2-2-2 race in June, and then they're doing 125 laps this weekend, and then when they come back for the last race of the season at our track on August 23rd, they'll be doing 150 laps.
Oh, wow. So, Jeff, what's it like to do 125 or 150 laps? Do you get, like, dizzy or something? How do you know what lap you're on? Like, really? You wonder.
Well, we have spotters in our cars. We have two-way radio communications. And I just keep driving until they tell me to go in after we're done.
Keep driving until you see the checkered flag, huh?
Pretty much, yeah.
Is there a strategy when you get towards the end of the race, like which lap you should try to make your move on? Or
like a Rickers or Checkers strategy?
Yeah, something. I don't know, something. Is there any strategy to it?
Back in the day, I used to be kind of a checkers or wreckers guy, but no, our strategy is usually to wait around. We hang around till about lap 75 on a 125 lapper before we really start moving the car forward and just save tires and let the race unfold and just try to miss any wrecks that come along. And you pretty much sit there and let the race unfold. I mean, we try to put on a show and do a little passing, but for the most part, it's just you taking care of your equipment and getting it ready for the end, because the only lap that counts is the last one.
Yeah. So would it be fair to say that there are no winners, there are just survivors?
I don't know if I go that far. But,
yeah, really. You're just hanging out there, huh? So, Jeff,
yeah, you have to take care of the car or the tires, because you won't be there in the end if you don't take care of that stuff.
That's true. Now, we heard your crew has a weird fascination with sour gummy worms. Is that true? And what is it? What's up with the sour gummy worms?
Well, actually, those were purchased mostly to satisfy my grandson, and we have two other young men on our crew, children of one of my crew members that we call, one of them's Einstein, the other one's Gizmo. And Einstein and Gizmo and my grandson Colin, they can go, we call him Turbo. Those three can go through a lot of stuff, and we got to keep Ashley supplied too. So
Ashley,
you're into sour gummy worms.
You have a fascination with sour gummy worms, huh?
Well, on the June race, we were nonstop for 5 days. So Saturday, I rolled into their pits and I can smell them like 10 feet away. I'm like, okay, I need some sugar, please.
Well, we're just about out of time, so tell us about the race coming up Saturday. What time and how much?
Gates open at 4, McDonald's time trial at 6:30. Racing starts at 7. Adults are $16. Seniors are $14. Children 12 and under is always free with an adult, and military is always free with ID.
All right,
great.
Very good. Well, Jeff and Ashley, we appreciate you coming in today and talking to us, and good luck on the race this weekend.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you later. All right, Jeff Hallock and the car's owner, Kathy, along with Ashley Houle. Now you got me all messed up, see?
We'll see you
All right,
next
well, thanks.
week. Good
Thank you,
luck,
guys.
Yeah,
Ashley. Hope
appreciate
it
you
goes
coming
well.
in. Yeah, have a good one. This is Top Story. 7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story, and we've talked about this before. The flyovers that they have from Far More of Idaho for infrared barren. They fly over your fields. They take infrared pictures, and then they will upload these. You can get them on your computer. You can look at your fields and see how they look taken with infrared photography, which opens up a whole new plethora of information to you. You can see if the water is effective, if the crops are doing well in the entire field or just parts of it. Then you can make changes, minor or major, to your watering system or whatever else needs changed. And they can tell you all about it at Far More of Idaho. It's quite a deal. It's not that expensive, and it doesn't cost. It pays, okay?
That's a good one, Cal.
I thought so. Infrared Barren. Give them a call, 324-3341. They are online at farmoreofidaho.com.
Yes?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you
What?
had something to say. I thought you had something on the tip of your tongue.
No, I was going to
okay.
say there's no updates. They haven't rechanged. The plane landed, apparently, with the bodies, so nothing.
Okay. So the
Nothing
story
has been
was
updated.
that the plane carrying 40 of the coffins from the victims of the Ukraine crash also crashed on landing, killing 51 people. That was the story.
That was wrong.
Now we're hearing that the AP got a word in the wrong place, and it wasn't that plane. It was the one apparently in Taiwan that crashed on landing.
Now they're saying finally they're home. The two airplanes with the victims of MH17 arrived in the Netherlands. Church bells ringing in the Netherlands, the plane bringing our dead home, about to land, 1 minute of silence throughout the land. So it's a big loss for them.
Yeah.
So they're doing a minute of silence, and all the flags are at half staff at the Eindhoven airport.
All right, very good.
So sad.
Yep.
What can you do?
7360300, Top Story. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kelly and Jill. This is Linda Howard. You guys have a busy show this morning, and I just wanted to call and thank Jill for her kindness for her phone call yesterday. I found my Shih Tzu, Mickey, and I want to hope the lady that found her and took her to the pound is listening, because there's not very many people out there in this world that would take time out of their day to go pick up a little dog and take it to the pound.
Yeah,
So
that's for well, Jill would.
I do, but
She does it all the time. That's her second job.
Yeah.
is it? Okay.
So
Good. Well,
Linda-
I'm glad there's a lot of people out there that do that, because I sure appreciated it.
Oh my gosh, I felt so badly for you yesterday. My heart was breaking for you.
Yeah, the sun's shining and everything's happy at my house.
Is Mickey is Mickey behaving himself and
Well,
not trying
you know
to get
what?
out?
He slept all day yesterday, and he's like, Mom, I'll never do that again.
Yeah, I am so happy you are reunited. And we got a call right after the show of a woman who was finding a little Shih Tzu, and she thought it was yours. But
she did. It was so nice of her. I met her at the pound.
yeah,
And she brought another one in that was lost. And, but Mickey was already there, and it was a great day when I found him.
so
very
obviously
good.
someone else lost their dog. And you said they were telling you there's just a rash of dogs being turned in
She
right
did.
now.
The gals in there, she said, we just can't believe it. She said, there's so many dogs out there that people are bringing in that have been lost. They're just missing. And so, they're just getting a raft of dogs in that people have lost.
Wow.
So,
really darn.
So people
Well,
need to
we are
check.
glad
it's been a
you're.
great day. Thank you for
I'm so
everything.
happy
You're
for you,
welcome.
Linda.
Yeah, glad you were reunited. Thanks for the call too.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
I know. I called Linda about 11:30 yesterday because I was so curious. I knew that lady called, and I wanted to give them time. Maybe it was her dog, and it was at the pound. Poor little Mickey stayed the night there at the pound.
wow.
So he was so happy to see Mommy.
Got to spend the night in jail, huh?
Oh, she said he wouldn't leave her side. But anyway, so it's nice, and thanks to those people. When you see those dogs out there, take them to the animal shelter.
Yeah.
That's the first place people look.
Yeah,
And,
that is true.
It is.
And right now, I wonder, apparently there's a rash of that right now. I
That's
wonder
what
if
they
it's
said.
because
They're
it's so hot.
overloaded.
I wonder if it's because it's so hot and maybe people turn them out in the yards and there's no shade or anything, so the dogs
Get
try
the heck out of there.
Yeah, try to get out and find a place that's a little cooler. And,
I mean, you have to give them shade. You have to give them water. Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
It's hot out. It's 96 degrees. The asphalt's burning their little paws.
well,
Come
and look at
on.
it this way: if you and I were wearing
A fur coat.
A fur coat.
Yes.
Everywhere we went, everything we did.
Yeah.
And most of it would be outside. You know,
we
on these
can only
100-degree
pant.
days, you got a fur coat on.
You're only panting to cool off.
That's right.
That's how they cool off.
That's right.
I'm so happy for Linda and Mickey.
I am too. Yeah.
Anyways.
So
one more happy story.
Another successful story. Absolutely. Well, I was going to talk.
We'll talk and we're going to a break.
I guess we might have to keep this for later in the show. But when we come back, there is a preacher who started this experiment, and that's been picked up by several people now, going 21 days without complaining about anything.
How hard would that be?
Oh,
I don't think I could do it.
I don't think I could do it.
We'd have to leave the 2 hours out every day.
Yeah, we would.
We'd have to have an exemption.
We'll talk about that when we come back here on Top Story. 7360300 is our number here this morning on Top Story. Welcome back. We're going to talk about never complaining for 21 days.
And that's the minimum.
That would be eternity. That's right. That's right.
We'll have to see if we could do it.
Yeah, okay. Well, anyway.
All right, I'm going to tell you about, I'm not going to complain about this because I think this is a great idea. If you need to rent a mailbox, go to the UPS store on the corner of Blue Lakes and Addison. And if you have a home business without a retail location, you're moving, or you're worried about the security of your mail, go to the UPS store, rent a mailbox. If you tell them that Joe or Kelly sent you, you'll receive 1, 2, or 3 additional months free. But you must tell them that Joe or Kelly sent you. While you're there, you can print, you can ship, you can make copies, you can laminate, you can buy cute little animal cards. There's no drop-off fees for prepaid packages or mail, and you can easily design or upload your projects from any place, anytime, and they will print them out for you. So the UPS store, corner of Blue Lakes and Addison, tell Charles and the crew, Jill and Kelly sent you.
Okay, so this is from Tim Ferriss of HuffPost, all right? Interesting article here this morning. For the last 4 months, he's been experimenting with a few types of thought experiments. The two most notable are radical honesty, which is 100% guaranteed to get you slapped or worse, he says.
I was going to say that. I don't think that's a good one.
I don't think so.
Honey, does these pants make my butt look big? No is the answer. I don't care what you think. No is the answer.
That's the only possible
answer. That's the only answer. So that's out. 100% honesty, radical honesty, out. Okay.
So how about anti-complaining? The latter started in his book Agent's Office, he said, where he spotted a pile of purple bracelets on his desk. What are these? He grabbed one, and it is inscribed with the acomplaintfreeworld.org.
Wow.
Another author of mine. Interesting story, actually, said his agent. And it was. The author was Will Bowen, a Kansas City minister who had recognized, as he had in a previous post, that word choice determines thought choice.
That's right.
Which determines emotions and actions. It's not enough to just decide you'll stop using certain words, though. It requires conditioning. Will designed a solution in the form of a simple purple bracelet, which he offered to his congregation with a challenge. And, in fact, let's just offer you, the listener, this same challenge today. Go 21 days without complaining. I'll tell you right now, I can't do it.
Well, the thing about this challenge is, if you do complain, you're supposed to wear the purple bracelet.
You wear the purple bracelet.
If you complain within 21 days or 21 seconds of starting the challenge, you remove the bracelet from one side of the wrist to the other wrist, one wrist to the other wrist,
right.
And then you have to start the 21 days over.
All over again.
And then when you complain about having to start over again, you then turn the bracelet to the other wrist and start over again.
There's no complaining here.
No.
The effects were immediate and life-changing, he said. The bracelets spread like wildfire as others observed these transformations, and to date, more than 5.9 million people have requested the little devices. Can I have one? I asked my agent. It all made perfect sense. Fix the words and you fix the thoughts. I'm not a negative person, but I wanted to cut out on the commiserating most of us use for 30 to 40% of all conversation. If you don't believe me, keep track of how many people start conversations with you in the next 24 hours that center on a complaint or criticism.
Okay.
Man, I've got to show this to my wife.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, he said, I made it 11 days on the first attempt, and then I slipped. Back to 0. Then it was 2 or 3 days at a time for about a month. Once I cleared 21 days at around month 3, I no longer needed the bracelet. I'm using the bracelet again now because I'm preparing for some large projects I expect to be challenging enough for cornholio-style meltdowns, whatever that is. I don't know what that is.
Was that a complaint?
I don't know.
Start again, buddy.
That's right. Okay, so what is a complaint? This is where I disagree with some of the rules set by Will. He asks you to switch wrists whenever you gossip, criticize, or complain, and the definitions can be a bit vague. He also requires you to switch wrists if you inform someone else they are complaining.
Oh, so you can't
point
it out.
No, I guess I can't give this. I can't give this to my wife.
Oh my goodness.
I think this is counterproductive as I'm big on constructive criticism.
Okay.
And who isn't, huh?
Yeah.
I defined complaining for myself as follows: describing an event or person negatively without indicating next steps to fix the problem.
That happens a lot.
I later added the usual 4-letter words and other common profanity as complaint qualifiers, which forced me to reword, thus forcing awareness and more precise thinking.
All right.
Following the above definition, both of the following would require a wrist switch. Man, I went into the post office and I had to stand behind a rude jerk for 30 minutes. What a waste of time. So that would be a complaint.
Okay.
John can be such a expletive, totally uncalled for.
Okay,
that would be one also. The following variations would not. Man, I went into the post office and I had to stand behind this rude guy for 30 minutes. It was a waste of time. From now on, I'll go in the mornings before 10 a.m. to avoid the crowd.
Okay.
So apparently, if you have a complaint,
if you have a solution,
but if you have a solution, then you're okay.
You are such a jerk. I'm never talking to you again. Is that a complaint?
I guess that
And
would be the solution.
A solution.
7360300 is the number. Top story. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Kelly and Jill.
Good morning. Did you call to complain?
What's your complaint?
Do you really want us to take this challenge? I think wouldn't have an audience.
Well, we wouldn't have a show. That's one thing.
We have to have an exemption.
Let's try to do this one better. If you did that, try if you do anything, give a compliment.
That would be nice.
You know, like
you're nice,
Jill.
Kyle.
I've told you more than once. I think you're a kind-hearted person.
Thank you, Kyle.
Politics, I don't agree with your politics, but I do think you're a kind-hearted.
Well, thank you, Kyle.
You know, it's that type of mentality, and it's true. I mean, when we listen to the show and we start talking about topics, I can feel my blood pressure rising on certain things. You know, I can hear Jill's voice elevating, you know, and so on and so forth. I don't think I could do it.
Oh, I don't know. I couldn't.
You don't for 21 days?
I have a question. Would this be a compliment if you said, "Boy, you're really not as ugly as I thought you were"?
That is a compliment.
Is that a compliment?
I think that's a backhanded
compliment.
Then
I might be all right with that one.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for the call. Appreciate
it. Kyle.
7360300. Top story. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, a couple things. The 21-day period. Supposedly you can make or break a habit within 21 days.
That's what
right.
it is, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And also, I have a friend who I try to avoid because when I talk to her, I say, "How you doing?" And always I say,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I know.
And then the whole conversation is just one complaint after another. And by the time I leave her, I am so down and angry about everything.
Yeah,
I know that's how that works too. To be around down people can bring you down. On the other hand, to be around up people can bring you up also.
So, do you avoid your friends sometimes? I know.
Well, constantly, actually.
Does she think you're friends anymore?
Well, I call her enough that it keeps a little contact with her.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've tried also, and it has worked so well for me, is a lot of times when I pray, it is strictly a prayer of gratitude. There is no asking for anything. And oh man, that has made such a difference in my life.
That's nice.
Anyway, So be positive.
Yeah,
Well, thank you for
absolutely,
calling
yeah.
in.
Thanks for the call. That's some good advice there, too. 7360300, top story. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. My only complaint is that not a lot of the world doesn't have 101% of Jill's virtue and beauty. That's my only complaint.
Aren't you so sweet?
Well, you're going to have to switch that over to the other wrist now, buddy. That's a complaint. See, then he hangs up.
He hangs up. What a nice, it does make you think. And you think, when I read this, I thought, this is interesting. And it is true, though. I have some friends that when you call them up and it's just, oh.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's
I know.
wearing. Mm-hmm.
I know. There are people who are like that.
Yeah.
I'd like to think I am not one of those because I don't like to talk.
Well, I don't talk to you on the
phone.
phone,
I don't like to
so
talk
there
on
you
the
go.
phone,
I just get the 2 hours with you every day. Oh, my God. I'd be switching my wrist back and forth every other second.
I'm sorry. No, you'd be slitting your wrist.
Yeah, that's true. Who needs a bracelet? I'll just have permanent marks. No, Kelly, it's always fun doing this show with you. We're actually good friends.
So I thought that was an interesting article, and I don't know if I really would have.
I think you should do it.
That would be so difficult.
Well,
because,
why?
Because
why would that be so difficult
I'm
not
going
to complain?
Admit it, I think most of us enjoy complaining. We just do.
Well, I think misery kind of bonds. Like, my dad will bring up horrible things that have happened to me, like, forever. You know what I mean? When you think he's 88 and you think, my gosh, some people forget things. No, my dad remembers every slight that ever happened to me and brings it up. I mean, like, maybe it could happen 20 years ago. I just saw him in May and he'll remember, just like the worst things always, like, he loves bad things, like commiserate. People commiserate over bad things, and I'm like, well, that happened a long time ago. Or he'll still bring, like, my past mother-in-law who was a nightmare. You know what I mean? I'm like, Dad, I'm married to Tom. Do you know what I mean? Like, some people just love to bring out negative.
Yes.
Maybe that's what made me more positive, because Lord, my dad was sort of enjoying the misery of it all. People like that.
Does it? So it can have two effects. Then it can bring you down and make you more miserable to where you are like them. Or you think, like maybe happened to you, it makes you look at the other side.
The opposite.
On purpose.
Date anyone who wasn't like my father.
Yeah, so you should thank your father for turning you into a positive person.
More positive person. My mother, it could not be more positive.
Yeah,
my mother's
a nice
amazing.
lady.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, like her dog bit off her part of her finger.
Oh.
And she she didn't want to go in the ambulance. Like, what, are you kidding me? You know what I mean? Like, she's just, everything's like, well, it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah, just the tip.
I get the it's down to the first knuckle. I'm like, Mom, you said it was just the tip. But, she just always looks at more the positive. Like she said when she went to get a manicure, she thought she should get a 10% discount because she only had 9 fingers to polish.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I would complain if I didn't get a 10% discount.
But so it's interesting how people look at different things, and you can make a big deal about a lot, and people can die of a hangnail, and people can live through cancer. It just depends on your point of view.
Yeah, that's true.
I think complaining does, I don't know, kind of bond you in some way. Like it's to gossip. It gives you something to talk. Kind of. Groups you in a way.
Yeah.
Connects.
Yeah, I agree with that because there are people who they get together and do nothing but complain about
or gossip
other people,
mm-hmm.
So
I don't know. I think
there
we
are
should
some churches that survive on that.
Kelly, I think August 1st we should try the challenge. August 1st.
Oh man.
We'll see.
That means I'll have to practice in the meantime. Now, our 2-hour show will have to be exempt.
Of course.
All right.
Those are the rules, of course. But at 10:01 or 9, when do we get off? 9:50.
9:58, something like that. At 9:58 on August 1st.
Yes.
That's the same day we pull a new winner out of the hat for the.
And we'll be positive. We'll just see, and you'll have to. I'm going to have people in the station check on you because I'm not here after that.
Well, that's no fair.
Ooh.
I want to complain.
No, you can't complain.
7360300. Top story. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning. Can you imagine how much more beautiful the world would be if men were brutally honest?
Oh!
Their wife walks up to them and has their hair cut off, and she says, how do you like my new hairdo? Well, you look like a drill sergeant with too much makeup.
Can you imagine how extremely lonely men would be?
Are you really brave enough to do that?
Sometimes I wonder.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be
I'll
true
tell you
happiness.
right now, I would never do that. I'm like Jill. I don't care when they ask if the new Levi's, the new jeans make their butt look big. It's no.
I think
That's
men
the
would
only
be
answer.
not happiness. It'd be incredibly lonely because
Yeah.
their wives and girlfriends are going to leave you. Honey, does this make me look fat? Yes, actually it does. And I don't like your makeup or your haircut.
Coming up next hour, Twin Falls City Councilperson Rebecca Mills Sojka with State of the City. And welcome back to Top Story, the third half, until 10 o'clock now. On Rebecca can't hear. Yeah. Hello, 1 2 1 2. Testing. We didn't check out her headphones before we got going here. Okay, there we go. All right, very good.
Okay.
All right, I better turn on her microphone too.
Yeah, that always
think
helps.
we don't want her here.
You know, when you have an interviewee, it's always better to turn on their microphone.
Anyway,
this is a trick, isn't it?
and I have to apologize. I lost your theme song.
Oh no!
I don't know what
I
happened
know.
to it.
It's hard,
Kelly.
to work
I
with
feel
someone
so
like this.
unwelcome today.
Well, don't. Yeah, I know. I can see how you would feel that way, but
My
don't.
microphone doesn't work. My headphones don't work.
Right, and they lost your theme
song. No theme song.
No
Yeah,
theme song.
Exactly. But Twin Falls City Councilperson Rebecca Mills Sojka is our guest here this morning on Top Story, and welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We
Good
haven't
morning.
seen you in a while.
Yes. Good morning.
So, how is the budget process going? I know this has been kind of an ongoing thing here.
Yes, it's going well. We're actually close to the public hearing process that's going to come in August, the beginning of August. We've had discussions on the budget for the past 4 to 6 weeks. Every week, we open it up to the public for anyone to comment. Travis, the city manager, usually does an overview of the budget so that they have some kind of working knowledge, and then but they can come speak to anything. They can have an idea of their own, or they can have a comment on something that's in the budget. Everything is online. You can go to www.tfid.org, and on the left-hand side, you'll see a little tab that says 2015 preliminary budget. So it has a schedule of when all the public hearings are.
And you have one coming up soon, right?
We do. So the rate adjustments, which we can talk about, the proposed rate adjustments to water, sewer, and sanitation, that hearing's on August 4th at 6 p.m. And then the general public hearing on the budget is August 18th at 6 p.m. But people can provide input sooner than that. You can come. This next Monday's meeting is going to be an open conversation about the budget. It's going to talk about really any issues that the council has, any ideas that they have. It's kind of an open meeting for that. So it'd be a good time to come and provide input.
So how's your feelings on the budget? Do you have any concerns?
You know, overall, I think this is a really great budget. In fact, it's one that I can support more than I have ever. There are a few things that I'm concerned about, a little bit of maybe overspending on travel and meetings. That line item in a lot of departments has doubled or gone up quite a bit. And that really adds up, you know. And so what's interesting is, one thing about the National Citizen Survey that we just got results to is that citizens have a decreasing approval of the services they get for the taxes paid.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's one area where, we're spending more money, but are they getting better services? Are they really seeing the effects of it? And that's something we have to watch. The other area I really haven't changed my opinion on is our legal contract. And in the middle of the last fiscal year, we increased it by $75,000. The difference between last budget and this budget is an extra $80,000. And so,
but they're going to pay him another $80 on top of the $75 from
that's
last
the
year?
difference between last year. So it's an extra $5,000.
Oh, an
so
extra
it's
$5,000
$80,000 to that contract. But we're also adding a internal staff attorney. So the entire budget and the cost of that's about $83,000. So the entire budget has gone up by 90% in one fiscal year. So that concerns me, especially because our services really aren't changing. We're just paying more for that contract, and we didn't go out to bid. My recommendation was to go out to bid because you don't know if you're competitive unless you go through that process.
Because what's the total? I mean, that the city pays for our city attorney? I mean, I think it was wasn't it over $300,000?
Now it's over $300,000. Last year it was $191,000. So it's gone up quite a bit. But overall, what I do like about this budget is that it's balanced with only increasing taxes by 1.8%. Idaho code allows you to take up to 3%, and that's usually what we take for, inflation and growth and things like that. You have more needs, and you can, do some more preventative maintenance and proactive work when you take that 3%. But I think what is conservative about the budget is that it was balanced with 1.8%, and that, the proposed rate increases to, things like sanitation and sewer are relatively low, and that's really good for people. It's 1% and 2%. 1% in the sewer and 2% in water.
Well, I know some people are saying, and we brought this up with Travis and Don Hall last time they were on, and we've heard this a lot. Well, if we get more business in, it spreads out the tax base, and we'll have more income there, and then our individual taxes will go down, which it really hasn't seemed to do that.
Or at least not rise as quickly.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of business come in to Twin. I mean, clearly.
Is that theory holding true?
I think in general it's probably true. There are too many factors to really, I think, simplify it that much, because really the way that Idaho code works for taxes is just you pay your slice of the tax burden, the pie, so to speak.
Right.
And so, it depends on your own property value, whether it's gone up or down, and the tax rate's a multiplier. And so, you have to pay, so the projected tax rate, depending on what the county assessor values our community at, that will affect how much you pay, more or less. So the proposed tax rate would be $7.97 per $1,000 in taxable value. Then you've got your homeowner's exemption. So in general, I mean, that can be true, but it also, cannot be true. I mean, generally taxes increase because the cost of doing business increases, and you have greater needs, because even when you add that commercial land or that industrial land, the valuation from there on usually goes down. It could go up.
It does go down.
It does, especially in commercial. And
a lot of times they don't pay it for 10 or 20 years. I mean, it's deferred, right? I mean, they pay the initial for infrastructure, but then the tax.
Are you talking about like the URA tax increment financing?
Mm-hmm.
True. They make their payments to go towards the URA funding of infrastructure improvements that went in. So like about with Chobani, like $30 million was spent on infrastructure and sewer lines and sidewalks and power and utilities. And so they pay their taxes. I mean, so don't misunderstand. But it goes to pay off those infrastructure. So really it's a net zero after 20 years, but you've gotten a lot of jobs, and but there are impacts, and I think this is where you have to be realistic. You have to be honest about the good things that happen with Chobani and Cliff Bar. There's a lot of benefit to the community. But then you have to be honest about the costs, because there are costs. There are costs to neighboring communities and the conditions of their rural highways, and they have limited funds to fix that. There's costs, in traffic, and what we're finding now is actually we're trying to deal with an odor issue on that northeast sewer line. So we've got like 6 miles of sewer. What we didn't realize, the unintended consequences.
And it smells.
Yeah, it's affecting people's quality of life. And so we're currently looking for a location to put one of these odor units that take away about 99.7%, or so of the odor. So
was that the odor at Kimberly and Hankins, or in that area, that people were smelling on? Basically near O'Leary?
That wasn't coming from the sewer line, from my understanding. But that odor specifically was coming from the UASB at Chobani. And really, they were just learning to operate it. And so they're using a different process. Some of the cleaners were kind of having an interaction with the unit. And so, but they've got that all figured out.
So where's the smell coming? Where is the smell that people are complaining about?
It's coming from, I think it comes out through manholes and connections. And so it's just coming along the sewer.
So
it's
just going
kind of
along
a natural,
the hole. Oh,
yeah,
gosh.
yeah. So what the deodorizing unit it kind of operates a fan, and it pulls the air out and kind of
How much does that cost?
We do not have estimates on that, official estimates on that, but I cannot remember what they were saying. They're looking into it right now. We had a hearing on one proposed location, but the neighbors were really against it.
Where was
so
that?
That was at the corner of Pole Line and Eastland, that curve, right near that curve.
Would it be a big unit?
It's not that large, from my understanding, about 12 feet in height, and I mean,
Is
it
it noisy?
looks like. They
Does it
said
smell?
Yeah, right.
It better
bigger
not
than a
smell.
bread box?
That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
It smell.
I don't remember the exact dimensions, but it's not huge. It's
Yeah.
kind of like a utility, looking box, and they were going to fence around it.
Now that kind of stuff, that's a budgetary item then for the new budget, or how is that paid for?
So that will be part of the wastewater collection budget. It'll go into the overall, capital improvements for just the sewer, which those are, paid for by fees. So they're not a general tax increase, but they're paid for through your sewer fees by everyone who's in the system.
Yeah, so those fees could go up. In fact, we're talking about a little increase in that, right?
Well, we've projected, they've already figured out the budget, and the projected increase to sewer is 1%. Which, when you're talking about 1% and 2%, a few years back, actually, when I was just on the council,
because they raised it then, right?
The projected increases were more like 5% and 6%. So here's where I think you're talking about that philosophy becomes true: is in fixed cost systems like the sewer treatment plant. It's going to cost the same $9 million to run it, no matter who's participating.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
When in a system like that, when you add users, it does help. It does help to have Chobani and other businesses add in, Glambia, because everybody pays, their part. And so if you have more participants, your rate goes down. So I'm actually relatively happy to see a 1 or 2% increase, because I think that's bearable. I think that's reasonable. It's 1% is less than the municipal cost index, which is the rate of inflation for the goods that cities, use, gas and oil and things like that. So 1 and 2%, I think, actually has been a decrease of burden on the citizen. But, in the case of taxes, your property taxes, the budget's usually balanced with a 3% increase plus the growth. So I think that's what's conservative about the budget this year that I'm really happy with, is to say, hey, okay, we made it work with just a 1.8% increase. I think that was really well done by the city manager and his team of all the department heads.
Now, people can still comment on it, as you say, and they can comment either at the meetings or via email or telephone.
Yes.
And I think you covet those suggestions.
We do really appreciate them. And going back to the National Citizen Survey, we've got, results of how people feel, but we don't know why. And so some people might think, I'm just one person, they won't listen, it doesn't matter. Well, it does. It does matter, and especially because collectively, if everyone comes and shares, we'll be that much more informed, and we'll know where to focus our resources and how to adjust the budget to their preference.
Can you stick around for another 5 minutes?
Sure.
All right. We'll be right back with Twin Falls City Councilperson Rebecca Mills Sojka.
Yeah, and the new
7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story. Welcome back, and I just wanted to let you know that Pat Hartzell from Stanley and Company will set up an appointment for you so you can see one of the low and honey loaders in operation before you plunk down the money to buy one of those. Now, it's not for everybody. It's kind of like one of those deals that if you have a big feedlot or a dairy operation, livestock operation of some sort, and you've got a lot of manure issues, one of these low and honey loaders might be just the ticket for you. But somebody like me who has a little 1 acre out in the country, I'd probably never fill one up in a lifetime.
No, but in our studio, we fill it up every day.
So get a hold of Pat, and he can take you to where one of these is in operation. You can see it, Pat Hartzell at 280-1167 with Stanley and Company. 280-1167. He can help you out. Also, yesterday's $100 instant winning name is James Couch.
James Couch, congratulations.
And your $100 word of the day is basket.
Basket.
You have until midnight tonight to enter the word basket at newsradio1310.com, and you could be a $100 instant winners.
BASKET.
That's right.
Basket.
Very good. Very good.
So we
All
were
right.
asking, were you done with your the first part? Because we were asking during the break about, well, you wanted to talk about zoning.
Sure.
Because you're the liaison on planning and zoning.
True. Well, we wanted to inform people that we have a new process for zoning amendments, and Title X code amendments, things that affect new development and the rules basically that you have to follow when you build something. And so this used to be the ZOAC committee, and that committee was one of the committees that we stopped using after our transparency resolution. And so what we decided is that now all proposed amendments will go through the Planning and Zoning Commission. They meet the first Wednesday of every month at noon at council chambers, and it's open to the public, and you can get an agenda and see what they're going to be talking about. And it'll be a great opportunity for the public to really be involved in the entire process from the very start to the very end.
Yeah.
It'll allow input at the best time for input. I mean, really, when you're starting to have good discussions about ideas and concepts and what works and what doesn't, that's really a good time for people to bring their ideas. And so now it's a consistent time. They're going to meet for an hour and a half from noon to 1:30. You can come, as much as you have time for. And if you have limited time, just let the staff know if you want to speak, and then you can.
So is this different than going to their hearings? I actually went to the planning and zoning hearing last night because I saw something on their agenda that concerned me about the Twin Falls.
Yes, I saw you there.
A comp plan. That's right, because you're the liaison. And I was actually on the comp plan committee in 2008, where we met for months. We had many people on, a diverse group, and really looked at the comp plan for Twin Falls, which is really their blueprint for how it grows.
Right.
And it was brought up in front of, we had public hearings on it, people looked at it, whatever. And I saw on the agenda, because I was prepping for today's meeting, I go through the city minute, the meetings, and looked at it and saw that developers were trying to change the comp plan on Kimberly Road, which right abuts up to the property of City of Kimberly, from 600 feet to, they were going to double it, which would go adjacent right up to someone's home, and change that to commercial when it was supposed to be agriculture, residential. And to me, I thought, wow, if you don't get involved in the planning and zoning part, you're really done.
Yeah.
Because when zoning changes, you're now done. If it goes from residential to commercial, you have no idea. The people that lived across the street in that subdivision on 3300 that live in Kimberly were never notified because they live in Kimberly. And to me, it really upset me that a couple developers who were going to benefit financially on their own could just change this, when it took a while for the committee to change the comp plan for the city of Twin.
Yeah.
And I was so grateful that the zoning, they voted down 6-1, that no, this shouldn't just be changed without more input or discussion, but people really have to get involved. If you miss out on the zoning part, honestly, that's it. You're done. And we have a couple zoning issues coming up for Twin right now that's going to change the whole landscape of what Twin will look like. They want to increase the height from 35 to 50? Is that what's coming up?
The proposed building height in the C1 zone would be 50 feet. And so, and a lot of our C1 does come right up against residential, like on Blue Lakes.
It does.
And so it will affect the landscape.
It's my understanding that the height restriction has been on since the get-go, because that was all the higher that our fire trucks could reach. And now that we have bigger and better fire trucks, they probably feel more comfortable at going up to 50 feet. So the 35-foot height restriction, as far as I understand it, was never had anything to do with aesthetics. It was the fire truck.
But when you think about the aesthetics of the city,
yeah, I think that's true in a practical way, but I think that it's definitely affected, the way that Twin Falls is. It has affected aesthetics because we have open skies,
right?
We have wide open spaces.
When you go to Boise, you don't see that.
Yeah.
And do they have new fire trucks? Because last we heard they would have to purchase more to reach their 50 because they don't have them.
Well, before we talk about that,
sorry.
Can you stay another 5?
Sure.
All right, we'll be right back with Twin Falls City Councilperson Rebecca Mills Sojka on State of the City. 736-0300 is the number to call. 736-0300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story. Welcome back. July is making its way through the month.
It's doing a very good job of it, isn't it?
It is.
Kudos to July.
One day after the other.
Yeah.
And and pretty soon it's going to be July 31st. Well, for right now, during the month of July, Bish's RV is having a huge blowout on their entire inventory of Starcraft and Dutchman travel trailers. Now, I know there are a lot of people who would love to go camping, but they think, oh gosh, my idea of roughing it is no television set in the motel room, you know?
Yeah.
So here you can go to Bish's RV, you can get a Starcraft or a Dutchman travel trailer, all the comforts of home. You can go camping anytime you want, anywhere you want. And when you do buy, you'll get $1,000 worth of parts and accessories for your new travel trailer purchase. This is at Bish's RV. They're at the Curry Crossing between Twin and Filer on Highway 30, and they would love to show you around. They're the largest RV store in the state. They have 4 stores. One of them we have right here in the Magic Valley at the Curry Crossing. So go check them out. Tell them that Kelly and Jill and Rebecca sent you.
We're throwing you in there, Rebecca.
Thanks.
So we were finishing up. You had a comment about what I said about the zoning and the comp plan.
Yeah, well, I think that was a good observation about the comp plan, and I'm glad you brought it up because it's actually a budgeted item in this budget, $100,000. I mean, if we're going to spend $100,000,
What do you mean $100,000?
That's what it costs to bring in a consultant that brings the community together, that reaches out, all of the media, the advertising, the coming together, kind of like the strategic plan, where you get input from a lot of people, and then you have a neutral third party sort out the input and rate it and try to help you make these determinations. Because you're right, when a zoning request comes in by Idaho code, the job of the council and the Planning and Zoning Commission is to determine whether it complies with the comprehensive plan. So, and the reason you have a plan is so that your city isn't, all mishmash.
Screwed up.
You
Piecemeal,
just,
Looks like Houston.
Yeah, you want it to have some intentionality. You want it to have a plan. You want it to flow. You want it to make sense and be practical. And so that's why you need to stick to your plan.
Right.
And so every 5 years, required by Idaho code, you do an update. So that's this coming year, where actually, the last one was in 2009. So it's time to do an update. And so that's a good point. And I want to let everyone know, be looking for that in this. It won't start before October because that's the beginning of our fiscal year. But in the coming year, we're going to be doing an update to the comp plan, and that affects you directly. And you're going to want to know what zoning is being proposed around, number one, your house, your neighborhood.
Yes.
Right.
Not only that, your business, or areas you're interested in, like the Canyon Rim or downtown. You need to be looking for what zonings are proposed and provide your feedback, provide your input, because if you don't do that, then then it's a waste of money because we won't have any input from the community.
Right.
We need that. That's the point of doing a comp plan update is to get input from the community. So we need your input.
And I think it's crucial. And what really bothered me the most, too, was that this change to that comp plan in that area affects the city of Kimberly. They're on the other side of the street. No one from Kimberly was aware of it. I mean, I contacted one of my council members from Kimberly. They had no idea. And so I think when you're on the border of Kimberly and Twin, those people especially need to look and see what's happening. And they say you only need a 300-foot notice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I don't even think that's adequate because some of that farmland is vast and that doesn't even reach you. So people have to be proactive now. Things are changing so much, and you have to have
it's rather
input.
easy because a lot of stuff is online.
It's online.
So-
Yeah.
So look at the P&Z agenda.
It is, and
go.
you know what's great is you can actually get notifications of things that you're interested in. So you can go to our website, and there's actually on that left-hand side, in white, there's little subjects, little tabs, and one says Notify Me. Click on Notify Me. You can put in your email address or whatever, however you want them to contact you, and they will send you notifications of. You can click which meetings you want. I want to hear about Parks and Rec meetings. I want to hear about safety, and police updates. I want to hear about
planning and zoning.
Planning and zoning. So that's a really awesome thing that we have.
Yeah.
Good.
Top story. You're on the air with Rebecca Mills Sojka.
Good morning.
There's a couple things. When earlier you talked about downtown Boise and the buildings being high, I think that I've been spending a lot more time in downtown Boise, and the new buildings that built are very aesthetically pleasing. And matter of fact, one of them won a really big environmental award. I can't remember what bank it was, the one with the little sail on it. So I think that you can build bigger buildings, make them look nice, and make them fit the landscape. If you look at Boise's skyline and the pictures that are taken, the First Interstate Building's been there for over 30 years, and it's 19 stories, and I don't think that it has done anything to detract from Boise's skyline. As a matter of fact, I'd much rather have Boise's downtown than Twin Falls downtown right now. So, I mean,
was there another point? Because we're running out of time.
Okay, yeah, my other point is this, and I know this is going to really bother people, but if you don't live in Twin Falls, you don't get input. You don't
I don't agree with you.
You don't live here. You don't pay the taxes. Just because we live next door to Wyoming and Montana doesn't mean we get to tell Wyoming and Montana what to do.
If you work in Twin, you pay taxes.
No, you don't.
Yes,
How?
you do.
How
My
you pay
husband
city
has a
taxes?
business in Twin. We live in Kimberly.
Yeah, but you don't live here. Sorry. You don't vote.
His business is in Twin, and we work in Twin.
Can I add something real quick to that?
When we come back.
Okay,
we'll
when we come back.
7360300 is the number to call. Our last segment here on State of the City with Twin Falls City Councilperson Rebecca Mills Sojka. When we left, you were going to make a comment on the being able to have a comment when you don't live in the town.
Right. Well, I was just going to inform people a little bit more on this specific issue because it affects an area that has not been annexed into the city. It will go to the county commissioners. That's where it will eventually end up. It's a recommendation from P&Z to the council, and then I believe it still goes to the county commissioner. So that's where people who don't live in the city would get their representation and would have a little bit more of a voice. But I do want to say from a council perspective, we have people, when you testify before the council, you give your address and you say, where you live. Or where your business is located. For example, the applicant last night, I don't believe he lives in the city, but he gives his business address, which is in the city.
That's right.
So even the applicant, wasn't from the city. So we just try to listen to all input and we consider, I do anyway, I obviously will give preference to those that I represent within the city, but we recognize that everyone is affected by decisions that are made by the city of Twin Falls. People who live just outside city limits, neighboring communities. We've really learned that you have to look more holistically at the community and weigh everyone's thoughts, and especially if you have several people kind of saying the same thing, you really have to give credit to it no matter where they live.
And also, I mean, the city's decisions has affected our quality of life, and we're worried about, when are we going to move? We're right across the street from the city of Twin's impact area. How can you not say someone doesn't have a say? I think everyone does. You don't think Chobani and Cliff Bar is affecting the people that live right across the street from it, down the street from it, from traffic to everything, to smells that will probably happen. You're going to have a wastewater, a lift station, who knows? But that housing development right across on 3300 where that commercial property they wanted to extend to, you don't think they would know when they moved in there? They said, the comp plan, ag, whatever. Then the value of their house goes down. So I don't agree with that last caller at all.
And especially, especially when we're coming so close to another city, and that's why it's good. The county commissioners then will look at Kimberly's comp plan and compare it to Twin's comp plan, and it's their oversight that comes in to really make the county flow and be homogeneous and make sense. And so that's where they come in. But I think it's a good point. I think that as your city representative, I definitely give preference to people who are most closely affected by a decision. Mostly that's Twin Falls and to my Twin Falls residents that I represent. But sometimes the neighbors that are most closely affected are in Kimberly, and you still have to make a decision about the community. So you have to weigh everything.
I know there was a big issue about this very same thing several years ago, only it was just the opposite because the people who are living in the impact zone have to live under the rules of the city, but they have no say-so in that.
Yes, so one of the most common comments or input that I get from area of impact citizens is that's what they say. They say, this is, taxation without representation. Or whatever,
Right.
They don't pay city taxes, but it is true that the county and the city have an agreement where the county lets the city impose their code restrictions and our rules on county residents within that 1 mile outside.
And they have no say in it.
They don't, but so here's where they do get representation, and a lot of people don't know this, so it's important to say. Everything, you'll go through the process with the city. All of the codes and things that are put on you at the city level, that recommendation from the P&Z and from the council will go to the county commissioners. that is where your representation is at, and the final decision will be made by your county commissioners where you are represented. So remember that. I mean, go through the process. Don't lose heart. Don't get frustrated.
No, you got to show up.
Because in the end, you will go before your elected representatives, which are the county commissioners.
But even at that, let's say, because I live out in the country, I have a shooting range in my backyard. If I were to be put into the area of impact, then I would be in violation of a city code every time I went out to shoot my gun, and I would have no say in it, and there would be nothing really that could change that. I mean, I could go to the county commissioners, but I don't think they could give me an exemption.
That's true, and that's why, honestly, the comp plan and paying attention to zoning changes around a wide area around your neighborhood is important, because you could, if
you can
enough
live clear
land
on the
is
country,
annexed,
you can still be in the impact area.
Exactly. If enough land is annexed near you, you can, by default, come into the area of impact. And that's
Becca, how do you know when the commissioners have their meetings? Is it posted on the website as well?
They have their own website. So I believe it's, don't quote me, twinfallscounty.org or something.
Oh, yeah.
But
if you Google Twin Falls County website.
So it's separate from the cities, so you have to pay attention to both websites.
Yeah, we are completely different jurisdictions. We have kind of a recommendation, opportunities that we send to the county commissioners, and we work together on a lot of different issues, but the city largely has jurisdiction within city limits, and then the county enforces state law, and that's the difference. The county, really, they don't get to make their own laws. They have to go through their legislators, and they just abide by and go through state law. The cities really have that flexibility where we want to, make marijuana legal. Not that we would, but cities can make laws. So.
Well, thank you very much. We're out of time. We'll see you next time. Rebecca Sojka with the State of the City. And it's time now for the Huckabee Report, brought to you by Waddell & Reed. You can hear the Huckabee Report each weekday at this time, brought to you exclusively by Waddell & Reed. Laura Nelson, Josh Funk, and Steve Stanger, financial advisors, and the number is 736-6563. And if you've been waiting up nights wondering about, should I rent a mailbox?
Who hasn't?
Where would I go?
Who hasn't?
How would I do that?
I don't know.
Here's Jill with the answers.
You go to the UPS store on the corner of Blue Lakes and Addison, and you rent a mailbox. And it's so funny because one of my neighbors has been hearing my plight about how a package was stolen from our porch. So she said, we'll be happy to watch your stuff, even though another neighbor was watching it. Anyway, it was stolen. People stolen. So I might rent a mailbox now because I'm worried about the security of my mail. And if you have a home business and you don't have a retail location, you don't want people just driving up to your house, or if you're moving, rent a mailbox at the UPS store. Tell them that Jill or Kelly sent you, and you'll receive 1, 2, or 3 additional months free. But you must tell them that Jill or Kelly sent you. While you're there, you can print, you can ship, you can package, you can laminate, you can copy. There's no drop-off fees for prepaid packages or mail. You can easily design or upload your projects anyplace, anytime. You can buy cute little animal cards, which are just adorable. And go to the corner of Blue Lakes and Addison, tell Charles and the crew that Jill, Kelly, and Rebecca sent you.
All right, just like that. Hey, just to clarify, I think probably everyone knows by now, but early on they were saying that the airplane that was carrying 40 of the coffins of the deceased from the Ukraine crash had also crashed on landing, and another 51 people were killed. And my thought at the time was, well, you mean they had 51 live people on there along with the 40 coffins? But anyway, I didn't question it. Well, come to find out, apparently Associated Press goofed, and it was not that plane. It was another plane that was landing in Taiwan at the time.
They've upgraded it. Only 47 have been killed now, not 51. Okay. So anyway, they got them confused.
But that's the one in Taiwan.
Right.
Not the one that was carrying the coffins. Okay.
And also, our lunch is this Friday with Jim and Frank Vensveen. And Rebecca, you won a lunch once, and you're going to have to win again because Jim won, and now his brother won.
Oh, wow.
And so it can happen. Lightning can strike twice.
well, now I can enter my word of the day. So,
Yes.
There you go.
Which was basket.
Absolutely. Yes. B-A-S-K-E-T. Oh, we're only supposed to give it 3 times a day.
I'm
now
so
what are we
sorry.
going to do?
Oh, no. I take it back.
Hey, thanks for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow with another award-winning top story.
That's right.
So we'll see you then. Have a great day. Goodbye, Jill.
Bye, Cal.